What's going on, everyone? This is Damien from Lore Seekers, and today I have something new for you. So we're trying out something new. This is a budget Aggro, Aggro build with multiple budget levels and upgrade paths. So it's tailored to people who are just starting out and they don't want to invest a lot, and then it increases in budget levels. So you will see things that are replaced, you will see how the deck changes depending on how you upgrade it, and it goes all the way from the lowest possible budget to, the fully optimized competitive build. But I've been talking way too much, let's just dive into it. Roll the video. As with all of our videos, let's start with a breakdown. So it's budget deck time. I will be explaining you the game plan of AMAM Aggro. Then I'll show you various builds for different budgets. We have 4 different builds depending on your budget. I'll also show you upgrade paths. You will see them in the builds because some things are moving around, of course. And then we'll just wrap it up with the summary. Let's go. Let's start with the game plan. So what is our game plan when we're playing AMAM Aggro? So it's a budget aggro deck. Well, building multiple of them. What are we doing? We are aggroing our opponent like crazy. We're just aggroing them like mad. And we're trying to get to 20 lore as soon as possible. Our entire strategy revolves around questing constantly. That's what we're doing. We're just constantly questing to get to 20 as best as possible. The decks are built for various budget levels and with upgrade paths. Okay. Let's talk a bit more about these AMAM Aggro decks. To understand these decks at all, you need to know the very basics. So I don't believe that it's a good way to teach people to just show them like, hey, here are the cards in the deck. We need to talk about hows and whys. So here is how and why this works. Very simple outline. You play cheap characters, you draw a bunch of cards, and then you find ways to gain extra lore. For example, gathering knowledge and wisdom. It's all about rushing to 20 lore and just drawing more and more cards to replenish your hand, because you will be going low on hand size because you're playing a bunch of cheap characters. Let's talk a bit about characters. So the bulk of our deck is characters. This part is mostly for all of you who wish to try and to build your own versions. You have to pay attention to 3 things. First off, the cost. We need a lot of very cheap characters to swarm the board. Then you look at the lore. So you usually want characters that can quest for a lot of lore very early on. However, those are kinda expensive. But there is an offset to that, and that's the third factor that you need to pay attention to, the ability. You want characters which can either draw cards or get more lore. Piglet is a perfect example. He's super cheap, but he quests only for 1. However, he still qualifies for the deck because he has the ability which says, while you have 2 or more other characters, he gains plus 2 lore. So now he's questing for free. That's how you look and evaluate these characters when you're building AMAM Aggro decks. We have a couple of staple characters, and they are a good example of what I was just teaching you. So if you pay attention to them, the small ones, Maleficent and Lilo, they qualify because they are very cheap, they don't have ability, but they quest for 2 automatically. That makes them insanely valuable for these sorts of strategies. Then when it comes to the ability side, I've explained Piglet to you, and then you have Baloo, who, while having, 0 strength, he is a bodyguard, he can quest just for 1, but also when he gets banished you gain 2 lore. So that's why Baloo qualifies and is ran in a lot of these lists. The big important thing to take away is that some of these can be costly. And they're even more expensive characters than these ones, which is why we're going the budget route. We also have a very neat combo with Arthur. We will be using Arthur in every version of the build except the fully optimized mega expensive one. Arthur is cool. So he has the ability Student. When this character quests, you may return another chosen character of yours to your hand and you gain 2 lore. He quests for 1, so doing this he technically quests for free. He is technically a free cost 1 free, which quests for free. And when you combine him with Merlin Goat, you can quest for 5, effectively. Here's how this cool combo with the goat works. So you start, let's say you have Arthur, his ink is dry. You pay 4 for the goat. The goat's ability triggers. It says when you play this character and when he leaves play, gain 1 lore. So you gain 1 lore. Then you quest with Arthur, you gain 1 immediately. His ability triggers, you bounce the goat back to your hand. You gain 2 lore because of Arthur's ability. When you bounce a character back when he's questing, you gain 2. And the goat's ability also triggers because it left play and you gain 1 lore. So you just gained 5 lore in total with just 2 cards. Now let's talk about budget. We have 4 different budget levels. We have the beginner level, it's at $20. We have the foundational level, which is at 30. High level, though I think that I have named it something different on the actual deck list. Still coming up with a name. If you have recommendations, let me know in the comments below. That's $50, and then you have the pro level, right? This one is the super optimized one, and you're looking at like $200 for it. Keep one thing in mind, prices between Europe and America can sometimes differ greatly. So some of these can be cheaper in Europe. Some of these might be cheaper. So if you're from Europe, keep that in mind. Now let's check out the decks. Let's start with level 1, the beginner level. So this is what your earliest AMAM aggro deck might look like. So you're just trying out the strategy. You have a couple of pieces here and there. It's mostly dirt cheap cards. The budget is $20. The goal of this build is to get a sense for the very basics of the deck's gameplay style. Like the very, very basics of AMAM aggro. The weakness, however, is the deck lacks a lot of good tools due to budget restrictions. It's only at level 2 or higher when you start getting some fundamental tools. Alright, here is the first deck list, budget $20. And yeah, we are taking some creative liberties here to fill the 60 card slot. You are running 4 of the queens, you're running 4 Moanas. Moana not the best, but she gets the job done on a budget. 2 Baloos, 0 piglets or anything. You have 3 Ursulas. They're pretty neat. Like they can be like free freeze on challenge. That's okay. And then you have your package of the only song that you're running, Friends on the Other Side, and for actions you have Befuddle, because bouncing is good. You have a Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom to give you this very quick burst of 2 extra lore. You have Amethyst Chromicon to ensure that you can keep drawing, and for your location you have the library. If you wish to see this graphic, you can get it on our Facebook or Discord. Link is in the description below. Level 2 is the foundation level, because you have some fundamentals here. Mostly you have 1, which is very, very important, and that's Piglet. So this is what your first upgrade will look like. The budget is $30. It's mostly due to Piglet, because Piglet is almost $5. So he really drives the price up there. The goal is to get the foundations of the archetype going. You will get a much better feeling for AMAM aggro after playing this version. Mostly because Piglet is one of the cornerstone cards that all of these decks run. Here is the level 2 build, $30, the foundational build. So what you're doing here is you're increasing the number of your Baloos from 2 to 3, and you're also adding 2 piglets. You will be keeping 2 piglets until level 3 or maybe level 4. And Baloos, free Baloos is pretty nice to run. Baloo is an amazing card. You're still keeping some of your pieces here, like 4 Moanas. We will be keeping Pascal and Cogsworth for a while, and the rest, at least when it comes to Amethyst, not much has changed here. It's only Ember, increasing the amount of Balloons and adding 2 Piglets. Level 3 is the high level, so this is what a strong build looks like on a budget. This is the closest that you will get to like a competitive build on a budget. The budget is $50, so the goal is, well, at this stage, you have almost all of the tools for competitive AMAM aggro. While not fully competitive, you're still missing key pieces because they are fairly expensive. The deck is good enough to ensure fun and smooth gameplay. You can take this deck to your locals and you can do reasonably well with it. You are still missing key tools, so this is as far as you can go until you start dropping some serious money into the deck. Level 3, the $50 version. Okay, the advanced level. Okay, so that's what I'm calling it. Cool. Anyway, we're ditching the queen. Instead, we're running 3 Chernobox followers. It's a very good card. When this character quests, you may banish them to draw a card. We're increasing the number of Balloons from 3 to 4. We are still keeping 2 Piglets. The only reason why we're not increasing Piglets is the budget. You can increase Piglets here up to 4. If you have the budget, I highly suggest increasing Piglets to 4. But that's gonna add like 10 more bucks. So at 50, we run only 2. And then we are adding Madame Mim, Snake, to the Amethyst package, and we are adding 4 Merlin Rabbits, which is gonna help us draw a bit more. We have ditched the Chromicon at this stage, but we have kept Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom just for those extra bursts of lore. Now, some of you who are more advanced might be wondering, why did you keep Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom and got rid of Chromicons? It's mostly to offset the lack of Piglets. In theory, adding Chromicons is better because you want to draw more, but usually you have 4 Piglets already. Here you're running only 2, so you are missing out on the lore gain early on, which you have to substitute with somehow, so you're running 4 copies of Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom. And now we're looking at level 4, the pro level. This is what an optimized competitive build looks like, and it's very expensive. It's $200+. So you probably won't be spending less than 200, you will likely spend even more. So the goal is, if you're looking to build this specific version, the goal is playing and performing well in a competitive environment. Specifically in a competitive environment. This is close to the build, so my build is probably not fully optimized, but it's close to the build that you'd take to big events, such as DLCs, such as like 40+ player events. This is as close as you can get to it. Well, it's close to such a build, and that's why the budget is so high. And finally, we have the pro level, right? The AMAM Hyper Aggro fully competitive build. Here is what it looks like. So 4 copies of Piglets. You're adding 4 Lilos, 4 Maleficents, 4 Daisies. So you're just upping, you're going crazy with your budget. Then the rest is basically the same. At this stage, you are ditching Gathering Knowledge and Wisdom because you have an early game way of gaining extra lore, so you're putting Amethyst Chromicon back in so that you can keep drawing, and you're ditching the library for a more expensive Queen's Castle, which can net you even more lore. So yeah, this is the fully optimized build. Before we end the video, let's quickly jump into the summary. Now you should have the basic idea of how to build MM decks, the basic idea of the budgeting for MM decks, and what each level of decks looks like. So like I've said, the very first level is just $20 and it's just the pure foundations, while the highest one is the fully optimized competitive build. You're looking to, if you can afford, you're looking to go to like level 3. You don't need to be crazy and just go full on level 4. But if you want to try like a much better version without spending $200, you go with level 3 build. Lorcana can be a bit of a pricey game, so we hope that this video was helpful to some of you. It can be a bit pricey, like you have seen the spike between 3 and 4 is insane. So I hope that this video was helpful to some of you. Deck lists are in the description below. Graphics can be found on our social media, also in the description below. And let us know if you want to see more videos like this one. That's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below. Will you give these decks a go? Was this video helpful to you, and do you want to see more videos like this? If you want to see videos explaining some other aspects of the game, let me know in the comments. I read all of your comments. I try to respond to everything. I love a little community. And while you're here, please share the video around. It helps other players. And if you wish to do so, hit those like and subscribe buttons. Help us get to 500 subs when we're gonna have a giveaway. This has been Damien from Lore Seekers, and I'll see all of you in the next video.